Hi, it's Dr. Ray here, and I want to share with you the process of healing and transforming your life so you improve your relationships, your communication, maybe you get promoted, to you gain your health back, your life starts to improve. But before I share how this works and how to not get stuck, please subscribe to my channel if you like this video and others. Now let's get to this. First off, I have been in the coaching industry for 30 years, and I've seen people get stuck in a vicious cycle where they start talking about why they have the problem, but the problem never changes. Do you understand? Where they'll connect the dots, such as they might say, this happened to me in my childhood, and this is why I don't trust people. But you would probably agree that that doesn't sound like you healed the problem, because you're still afraid and hyper vigilant, and yet you have maybe a connection to where it began, what maybe influenced you, correct? So typically this is the process of healing. And also I'm going to share like how to not get stuck. So the first step is accepting that you have a problem. And that could be after 3 DUIs, 3 divorces, 3 bosses saying that you have to work on communication, you have anger issues, to where we just start to recognize that, wait a minute, I've moved to 5 different locations, and everywhere I move to, I seem to attract the same type of people. Maybe it's me. So acceptance is where we recognize that, hey, maybe it really is me and I do have a problem. That's the first step. Okay, we're no longer in denial, right? The next step is we start to talk about it. And that could be just with friends. We pick up a self-help book. We start doing our research online. We start watching YouTube to see if other people have experienced this. We want to know whether or not, other people know how to push through this, to where it's just where it feels better to be able to start talking to our friends about this, and maybe they recognize what we're talking about with that, meaning that they've experienced that negativity with us, to where maybe they have a recommendation of what to do next. Okay, so it's just talking about it. The third step is seeking support, like professional support, like a coach, a therapist, going to a retreat. But it's where you finally recognize that I'm willing to invest my time, my money to really do the work. And the reason why I'm bringing this up as well is, it's one thing to talk about it, where like you maybe have shared this, and you've heard other people where that's just my stuff, and nothing changes. So it's no longer saying that's just my stuff. It's now saying I'm going to seek help to work on my stuff, to change that stuff, so I become a better version of myself. So now the third step is seeking support. Now, the fourth step is typically talking about the past, or analysis. And that is where you sit in a space with, it could be a coach, a sponsor, it could be a therapist, where they start drawing the connections to maybe when you were molested, or your parents constantly moved, and every time you went to a new school, you had to make new friends and you were bullied, or something else. Just something where you can start seeing the connections of that prior experience that shaped your perceptions, shaped your sense of self, and shaped negative patterns in relationships and communication. Now, this is typically where people get stuck. And when I say people, I'm talking about, I don't like to make generalizations, but I can say probably most, because this is a space where, whether you're seeing a therapist or you're going into a plant ceremony type of container, where you're working with a shaman, or you might even be talking to a yoga teacher who also is a life coach, to where you keep talking about what had happened and how whatever happened made you feel, but nothing changes. So while you now have a narrative of maybe what had happened, your life is not improving. You still have the anger issues. You're still afraid of men or women. Somehow when you communicate, particularly if someone's giving you feedback, you become defensive and you react. And of course, you can bring it back to that story. Well, I remember it seemed like my mother was always upset with my father, and whenever she would express herself, he would just yell and walk out of the room. And that's maybe why I do that. However, that's not fixing the problem, correct? So it's important to recognize that even though you draw some connection to the past, the truth is, in this now moment, you're behaving that way. In this now moment, your consciousness is still programmed, and whether it's unconscious or not, to react to certain situations. You still don't trust maybe men, you lack confidence. And of course, you can draw the connection to that, how your parents always cut you down, and that's why you are no longer like, you don't have any confidence, but you're saying it to yourself right now, not your parents. So your program has to change. Your mental blueprint has to change about how you perceive yourself. Do you agree with this? Does this make sense? So the next step, which is what I do with my type of coaching, is where we go into transforming those beliefs and those identities. Such as the example might be this. If you had the perfect parents and they were to tell you that you're great, what would be some of those things they might say? And you might say, well, that I have a lot of potential, that I have unique talents, and that I can really make my life better. Well, that client just said that. And I might have that client write affirmations and say that. Of course, if there's deeper neglect and hurt, of course that's in the body. So it's not a logical thing. So it might be where I take the client to doing some type of breath work where they will focus on a part of their body where they feel that tension. Let's just say the solar plexus. And I have them close their eyes. And I might present the question such as, what would you have to believe about yourself to actually feel like a loser? And the person is like kind of in a deeper state of relaxation. And they might, with their body awareness and their breath, they might say, that's not true. Or they might say, I would really have to feel bad about myself, but I actually am not that bad. But just in that moment, in that connection, in that new awareness, it starts to shift things. It starts to like bring more awareness to the situation, to where I might add to the experience. And if you were to not have anything hold you back, what would you need to know about yourself to move forward? And they might say that I'm capable, I can do this. And of course, I just make this video really long. This I'm just to kind of give you an example of how we take a story, we bring the story into our body, we challenge the story, we also bring it back to asking questions to ourselves, such as, this would be another one. A person might say, well, I never saw a healthy relationship. My parents always fought. And I guess that's why I've always attracted toxic people. Well, the thing is that as you explore most people who have toxic relationships, they have poor boundaries. So the question that might be presented is this. What would you need to know about yourself? I might have them close their eyes. What would you need to feel in your body to say no, to recognize the red flags, to basically teach people how to treat you? And that person might say, the client, I need to feel good no matter what. I need to trust myself. Then that becomes their new belief, where they start practicing that I can start trust myself. I can trust my decisions. I trust that the right people are aligned with me. And therefore, it doesn't matter what happened in their past. They have a new mantra for themselves. They've connected to their body, and they also put it into action uh, the right steps, such as if they were to put themselves out there and start meeting people, to ask the right questions, to have firm boundaries, and so forth. So this is a simple way to understand how transformation with healthy integration and put into action really is supposed to look like. Um, in my book, uh, which I'll put the link down below, is that it helps you go through a process in which it breaks down those negative beliefs, but also assists you to create new ones, but also exercises that combine new body mind awareness. Because the thing is, it's one thing to just say, connect to the story, or to in that moment just feel good in a ceremony or with a therapist. But it's another thing to become that person consciously, correct? To become the new behavior without even having to try, to put into action the new healthy version that you really want to be. So I hope this makes sense, and I'd like to hear how this works for you. Hi, it's Dr. Ray here, and thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate your support, and you are the one who drives this channel. So if you like to be notified when new videos come out, please subscribe to my channel and push the bell button so you are notified when new videos come out. I appreciate you supporting this channel.